Obviously, the notion of diversity is a passionate goal for me. The whole notion of Multicultural Day was a celebration of diversity. It's really not possible, I think, for us as a species to survive without accepting our differences. And that diversity is at the root of that. And to try to work together and find ways to work together. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always noticed that people were different. But the difference doesn't necessarily mean that we need to be adversaries, that we can't love each other and support each other and help each other. 30 years ago, when I came to Moorpark College, Moorpark College was overwhelmingly white and homogeneous. Nothing wrong with that inherently, except that that's not the real world. The other issue with the homogeneity here was the issue of how people of color were perceived. One approach was to find a way to bring people together in a festival, in a program that we eventually would call Multicultural Day.
I started here as a student first, and now I'm staff, and I remember just how welcoming it was and how much it felt like a celebration. We're having thoughtful conversations about race, about diversity, about people with disabilities, and celebrating that, and also trying to support everyone so that they can do their best.
When I first came here, the Multicultural Day was sacred. It still is. But the whole idea that there's this one day where you celebrate all cultures and all ways of life, and you have all of that happening at a college on an alternative day of instruction, which sort of takes instruction out of the classroom context and it brings it into the commonplace, right? It brings it into the quad. It takes it in from a classroom that's just for, the 25 or the 30 or the 40 students in that instructor's room to others coming in to join.
Multicultural Day is special at Moorpark College is because it was always conceived as an alternative day of instruction. And one of the reasons that it was important that it was an alternative day of instruction was to make people feel comfortable about coming.
And this is a day that's planned for like months ahead, right? So for the folks who've done this, there's that love that they put into it. It's curating something special. And what happens on that day is that the college community sort of says, we are one.
I'm now full-time staff working at the Performing Arts Center, and one of the beautiful through lines between like Multicultural Day and also working at the theater is that everyone celebrates whoever you want to be. And I really noticed that as a student during Multicultural Day, that everyone was beautifully celebrated. You could dress however you wanted. You could just be yourself. And I think that's something that we're trying to cultivate campus-wide all the time.
Multicultural Day provides a safe zone for understanding and being exposed to cultures.
It really has been a safe place for students and for staff, that anyone can be who they want to be and be openly excited and celebrated for their diversity instead of being put down for it.
Multicultural Day now is about how we live together and how we struggle together and how we sort of jostle for meaning making. What is this whole American experiment about? And what is this whole American experiment about in Ventura County, right?
Yes, color matters, but it's really the character of the person that matters most. And those are the kinds of things that I think if we really are true about diversity that we're getting to. That is the content of the character and not so much the physical characteristics of the individual. They can't be ignored. Obviously, I'm a historian, so I know that without question, a person's skin color, who they love, their gender, all those things make a difference. But they make a difference because historically, people have forced us to make it have a difference. But we don't have to continue in that vein if we choose not to.
Conversation about our identities, conversations about our fears, conversations about what we feel most cherished about, what we most treasure, happen ongoing throughout this academic year.
As a student, sometimes it's easy to think that things just accidentally happened, And they didn't. A lot of people put time and effort and thought into it, and also reached out to different groups of people to say, hey, we want you represented here. And that's been like really great to see, especially in the wake of the conversations in the last year about diversity and equity, to see people really stepping up to the plate, and also knowing that this has been going on for 30 years. It didn't just happen this year.
When Multicultural Day was founded some 30 years ago, there were a number of things that were going on that continued to divide the people. So when we birthed, so to speak, Multicultural Day, the idea there was to have a hospitable place for people to experience the Multicultural Day. That was 30 years ago. As we move forward today over time, I have a sense that the majority of people recognize that diversity is important. The majority of the people in America know how important a multicultural society is. We all acknowledge that, at least in lip service. But there's still a strong minority of people who have very much difficulties with that. So we can't continue at the basic level as we were with Multicultural Day. It needed to expand and to move. And at the base of this is this concept of social justice. And the need for us to make sure that not only do we try to change hearts and minds, but that the concept of diversity, the concept of social justice, of anti-racism is a part of this institution's very metal.
The call for social justice and racial reckoning that happened last summer, when you look at the way the college community responded to it, I think in a lot of ways, Multicultural Day had prepped people for that, because there was a shared ethic. There's a shared ethic of equity. You know, we believe that all voices matter, and that it is in that vibrant, dynamic energy that the best innovations come from and the best communities come from. And so I think Multicultural Day, having sort of traveled along from moment to movement, it says a great deal about the college. What I love about it is also that our sister colleges have adopted multicultural, and the college district now, this year, will have a Multicultural Day event that's district-wide. And to me, that says, as always, you know, we Moorpark things, right? You know, that whole idea. And then we kind of give it to the world, and others then sort of make it their own. And we're very proud of that.
If we emphasize diversity, if we embrace it, then one of the things that will happen is that people will feel a sense of community. So we have a new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. We often refer to that as DEI, and the DEI officer for us today is Tamara Coleman.
The whole movement around equity and diversity and inclusion, the whole movement says we respect one another's humanity. We recognize, we acknowledge, we respect, and then we work together.
So this year's theme is Climate of Change. And for me, that means we're in this huge moment of transition. We're becoming more aware of the inequities in our society and trying to actively address them.
It was designed to build a sense of community. It was no accident that almost every aspect of this campus community was involved.
For us to be truly human, we have to engage one another. And to me, that's what Multicultural Day is about. That's what Multicultural Day continues to be. And the folks who do this work on our campus are keepers of a tradition, but that tradition keeps evolving. And that is the best part of this work, that a generation to come from now, they will look at Multicultural Day, you know, from its inception, and they will still see that spark running through. That's the legacy, right? That's the legacy. Somebody passes it on to us, and then we pass it on to the next person. And in so doing, we're better. Our college is better, our community is better, and we as individuals are better.
One of the things I really love about theater is how much you can affect someone by telling this beautiful fictional story on stage. And I'm really hoping that in this climate of change that we can have that same sort of effect and empathy on people, and that it can come from a place of love, and we can have creative solutions and creative thinking and have this magical moment that maybe we can make a more equitable society and we can have more people succeed in a newer version of this world that we're heading towards.
As we seem to be getting a handle on the COVID virus, and there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel for us coming together again in very, very basic and visceral ways. I cannot wait to see my colleagues, to give them a hug, to give them more than a fist pump, actually to shake their hands. And nothing will be better than to have the next Multicultural Day be a multicultural day as it's been celebrated for 30 years, and it has continued with a slightly different vein, a more emphasis on social justice and anti-racism.
It's about celebrating possibilities, right? It's really about celebrating possibilities. And the minute we begin to open ourselves up, individually but also as a community, the minute we begin to do that, then the more human we become and the more innovative we become, and that can only serve us well.
Kisa Shwala, we will all love. Kiyushka all, we will all be strong. Kisa Kantush, we will all believe. Kian Tikish, Kian Tikish, Kian Tikish, Kian Tikish. We are all alive, we are all alive, we are all alive. I leave this offering of tobacco